Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of All Nicked Up, coming at you, of course, from the greatest city in the world, New York City. I'm one of your co-hosts, Eric Holzman, and we have a special show planned for you guys tonight. Um, we're all going to put on a little virtual GM caps tonight and give our opinions. We give a lot of them during the season, so we're going to give our opinions on what we think the Knicks should do in the upcoming 2024 NBA draft. They have two picks in the first round, number 24 and number 25, and they also have number 38 in the second round. So we're going to try and help you out and give you our takes on what we think they should do, or maybe should not do. We'll see how it goes. So let me bring Ty in real quick because we have a special show plan. But let me bring Ty on first. What's going on,
Brother,
brother?
what's good? What's good?
Yeah, so this idea was your brainchild. This is something you asked, me and some others if they want to partake in this show. So we did something like this once before.
Yeah.
I do remember doing it once before. But do you think we're gonna have from the cast of characters we have on? Do you think we're gonna have any interesting players that might pop up?
Oh, it's going to be interesting because we got some fusion in here. There's a little bit different cook. We got some cooks in here right now that I think will stir the pot a little bit different than what you and I usually do. We probably would just go ahead and do the same mock draft and walk off the show. It'd be 5 minutes. I think, however, tonight it will be definitely a very colorful cast of characters this time.
Yes.
Not characters, but you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. But we would be remiss not to first say get well soon to Joe, our other co-host. He had shoulder surgery this last on Monday, actually, this Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So this past Monday. So he is not going to be joining us. I think he's afraid the painkillers might make him say things he might not plan on saying. So he won't be joining us, but he has told me he's going to watch us from the comments and comment on watch us from outside and comment as we talk about this. So hopefully he's here. And of course, Joe, we love you. Get well soon. I can't wait till you come back.
Get that Wolverine blood in you. I already told you that. Let's do it.
I know, man. All right. So two of the three people we have on, you guys will know immediately if you've been watching the show from the beginning. And one of the other guy, he's been on the show before, but he has only been on once, I believe. So yeah, I think he's been on once. So let me bring everyone on. First, let's bring up the two of the original four. Let's bring both John and Craig on screen. Gentlemen.
What's happening?
Hello, how are you?
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
See you, sir.
Yes. So this would be similar to who can I compare it to?
Well,
the only one that comes.
New Edition. I don't know who want to be Bobby Brown, but it's like New Edition.
New Edition is one of the original Destiny's Child, all four. There was four. Here we are. We have a bunch of pop bands we could talk about that. But yes, this was the original four, the core four that we had on the show. So we know you guys are fans. We know you guys watch us. But it's good to have you guys back. I can't wait to talk about the draft or possibilities of what you might do with the picks. We talk about this stuff every day, but to have it in public now is going to be fun. So we'll see how that goes. And the next member who I need to bring on is Jonathan Clark. He has been on the show, like I said before. He has his own show, what you see on the back. Put Two on Me is the name of the show that he's on. So it's really, really nice to have him on. Jonathan, you're on mute right now, but come on off and say hello to everybody.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? As always, thank you. I'm honored right now to be on with y'all. Y'all make me who I am.
All right.
All right, man. So I teased what we're talking about today, but there's one thing I want to start. The first thing I want to start off with, it's kind of weird. Normally, we're thinking about the draft as Knicks fans much earlier than we have it this year. So that's a good thing because that shows progress with the franchise. But I know the four of us, we have different opinions on how we think the team should be run. So we're going to get into it really quickly. So we're going to, yes, like I said, virtual GM. All right. So let's start with this. Of all the players in the draft, of every position that we have, let's each one of us go through and say what we think the Knicks need most. All right. So, Craig, I will start with you. What do you think the Knicks need to address most after this season and going forward?
In full transparency, I'm not prepared because I wasn't even sure if I was going to be on tonight. But after the day of work that I had, I kind of need the release. So, with that being said, I wholeheartedly think that they may trade Mitchell Robinson. So, if they can, try to get a center. Try to get Edie. I really like his game. I feel like he fits Tibbs' mold offensively. Defensively, just by his natural stature, just no one's really going to go in there and challenge him. I don't think.
That's fair.
I feel like that if he's there when they pick at 24, I feel like they should take him. And maybe a backup wing for OG if they can.
All right, so you're saying center and
yeah.
All right.
Especially
okay, John.
If the reports are true that they might hold on to those picks.
Yes, we've heard. That's one thing we have heard. We've heard varying reports that the initial report was they're looking to trade them, and then we heard a follow-up report by Ian Begley, who I trust because he's one of the guys I trust out there, who said that that's not necessarily the case. Of course, if a deal comes along where those 2 picks are advantageous to add a veteran, they consider it, but they're also they're bringing in guys to work out. I've been reading about some of them recently as well coming through. So they are doing their homework, which is what a good franchise does. So, John, what do you think they need to address?
Well, if the plan is to trade Mitch, Craig hit it on the head. You got to go out. You got to get the kid Edie. And center would be the number 1 position at that point to get a backup center. And like he said, 7'4", the guy's a monster. He's a little bit older and more prepped to play like right now. It's not like you've got to, coddle him for a couple of years before he, his testicles drop. I didn't say that out loud. Anyway, but if we're outside of that, I would like another small forward type. You know what I mean? More shooting. We those I can't lose with more shooting because I don't know what we're going to do with Burks or with Bogey this year. So we're losing some shooting. I would like to gain some back.
Yeah, that's a good point. We do have 2 veteran free agents in both Burks and Bogdanovich. Burks we thought was dead, but he like Lazarus. I'm stealing a Clyde line. Like Lazarus, he rose from the dead in the playoffs, and he came back and he showed out. So it was good to see. But again, like you said, he is a free agent, and Bogdanovich, as we know, is a free agent as well, potentially a free agent as well. We got to see how that works out. Coming off surgery, we'll see what they do there. So, Jonathan, I'll give you. I'm interested to hear what you think because I know these guys. I don't know you as well as I know them. So, what do you think the Knicks need the most going forward?
Yeah, I think the Knicks were in a great position this year. Obviously, you guys bleed the orange and the blue, and me just being a New Yorker, you have to. So I'm on that train. You have to love New York if you live in New York. I don't care if it's Buffalo, upstate, wherever you're at. New York, if they make a run, you gotta go with them. I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon too, man. I think Zach Edey. I mean, I like Mitchell Robinson. Obviously, I have thoughts about Randall as well. Just chemistry issues, but I think Zach Edey would be the best pick. I'm not sure which round he would even go in. A lot of people are doubting Zach Edey, so I believe Zach Edey, and I like that. I think Dalton from Tennessee. Dalton, is it Knicked?
Yes.
I like him. He reminds me of just of the type of player that will give you either down low presence. I just think the Knicks just need some type of down low presence. So I think ZD and I think Dalton would be good picks for the Knicks.
All right. So interesting. You brought up Dalton Knicked. He's someone I had my eye on as well. So I'm with you there. I think that'd be a good way to go as well. All right, Ty, come on, man. Tell me what you think they need. Even though I kind of know what you're gonna say, but tell me what you think they need. And
I'm gonna give an ode to the new dude in here from Buffalo. What are y'all noted for? Not the Bills, but for wild wings, right? That's is the buffalo wing. We need a wing. We need
I love.
on the Knicks. That's what we need. Don't let's not. What's that place? I went to one of the spots there. Can't think of the name of it yet, but they had some good wings. We're gonna stick with the chicken here. The Knicks. What was missing when you think about the Knicks towards the end of the season? OG went out, and what is everybody pining for right now? They said, "Oh, if we can only get the dude in Brooklyn." That's what we're talking about, Mikal Bridges, because we're like, well, we need an additional wing on this team that can actually be a stopper. For the league is not made up of tall people; it's made up of more of the small forward types. If you can get an athletic wing to kind of back up OG and maybe be brought into the fray a little bit better, that to me is where the Knicks' first concentration, in my opinion, should go. I get the whole center thing. You know my theory about Tom Thibodeau with centers. Edie's going to be going and getting hot dogs and halal outside of Madison Square Garden because he's going to be playing behind the real center on the Knicks, which is Josh Hart. That's the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where Edie's going to be playing behind. So I'm going to be at the mindset that at least if we got some sort of wing, perhaps the depth at that position is something that we need, and we need some height. Not necessarily 7-foot height, but we need somebody at least 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" range to actually kind of do some stopping. You saw Pascal Siakam, what he did to the Knicks and everybody else.
Yep.
They need wing depth. And I know we got a legit one in OG, but we know he only 50. Not Curtis Jackson. You're only getting 50 games out of him. So somebody got to fill in for the next 30. We're going to be Randall's jersey, number 30. Who's going to have 30 on their back? Because, let me tell you, you need somebody who's going to be able to back up and give you some depth. So I'm concentrating on the wings right now.
Yeah, I think all these answers are excellent. Center is one I had marked off, and wing, of course. For me, it's a couple of things. First, and I've said this before in the past, we need athletes. Whatever position we get them, we need guys who can run and jump.
Exactly.
The Knicks do not have those type players right now. A lot of the guys they have are very they're lunch pail type players. They bring their hard hats, they go to work, and we love them. We love those guys. But we do not have any pure athletes on this team. And it was exposed against Indiana. I mean, we could say all you want, but you really could tell the difference with even though they had all the injuries, they really looked like they lacked athleticism. That's number one. But for me, the other one is a true backup point guard. I like Deuce McBride a lot.
Absolutely.
I think he's more of a combo guard. We kind of saw a little bit more of a shooting guard mentality with him taking all the threes and how he started to attack the basket a little bit in the mid range as well. So that's the other position I'm focusing on, is backup point guard. And I think there are a couple of good ones in the area where we're going to be allowed to pick. Again, this draft is not a super draft like we've had in the past. There's no Victors in this draft. There's no Chets there's no guys like Chet or Victor or any of or Jaws or Zions. There's none of those types of guys in this draft. Usually a guy like that someone will pop out of a draft like that and be that type player. A lot of times we see that, but there's none of those guys. So I feel like this draft will be I want to say, and this is weird, I usually never say this, but talent-wise, me from like 5 to the end of the first round.
Yeah.
Like every player could be put in that mix.
Yeah.
It's a very, very wild card type draft. So, all right. So I mentioned the Knicks have the 24th and 25th picks, right? Yeah, 24th and 25th, and then the 38th pick in the second round. So at 24, looking at all the players that are available, Ty, I'll start with you. Who would you pick?
All right, I'm going to go the guy I'm going to pick here, it might be a little bit of a surprise because I'm thinking a couple of ways with Tom Thibodeau, how he is with obviously the rookies. The biggest problem with the Knicks is that they're very front heavy as far as the rotation. What 5 through probably 7 is going to be. There might be an 8th player that may get a little peekaboo into the game. As far as I'm concerned, this is about future and depth. So I'm looking for someone that we can bring in that possibly has a high ceiling, that you can maybe nurture along, because I don't think he's going to play a lot of minutes no matter whoever it is that's coming in. And at this kind of pick, I'm always looking for potential. A guy who can grow into the system, maybe be brought up through whatever the theory is of how the Knicks play. And the guy I'm looking at is a guy who's a little bit raw and he's very young, and that is Mr. I want to make sure I say his name correctly, Johnny Furphy. I don't know if you guys have watched him.
Yes, I had him on. Yes.
He's a 6'9". He's 19-year-old, 6'9", plays for Kansas. A little bit raw. Don't get me wrong. He's got a little bit of development still yet to go. But I think it's a good swing at that pick at 24 because he has a higher ceiling than most guys that are going to pick past that. So when you get down to the 24, 25 range, et cetera, it's usually going to be your 3 or 4 year players who might can come in and contribute. But the Knicks need to have some blood in the water, some new fertilizer in the water or something to kind of know when this phase goes out that you got some youth on the back end that you can maybe bring in and maybe give you some minutes. He reminds me a little bit of how Austin Reeves is being used with the Lakers. I could see him being that type of player down the line. This is not a pick for now. This is a pick for maybe 3 years down the line. Or maybe he can jump in and develop. He's an Aussie. They're usually tough-minded players. They play with a lot of grit. So if I was going to pick at that position and he's fallen there, you know, he's like I said, he's not a polished rock by any means, but he is the kind of potential that you want to bring into this franchise and let him learn under the right guys. I mean, if you're learning under Josh Hart, you know, I was going to say Obi Toppin. Don't trigger the Bob Bradley. Well, let's not trigger him. Eric already triggered him. But
Good Lord, man.
but the Josh Harts, the DiVincenzo's, all those guys, they're great vets. They're great presence. They're very professional. A young kid could really learn coming into the game right now from them. And, you know, who knows, maybe down the line, maybe a few months into the season, maybe he comes in and can knock down some shots for us. I doubt he's going to play. But I'm picking potential at the 24th pick if I'm going to take a swing.
All right. He was a guy that I had highlighted as well. One of the guys of the group of players I think will be available at this point. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think it would be more of a future pick. He's very thin. Yeah. Right now, if you look at his body, he's got to build an NBA body. But like you said, he's an Aussie, well-rounded player, good shooter. So you always can use some of those guys. So I feel you on that one. All right, John, you're up.
Yeah, I'm not messing around like that. I'm gonna get Zach Edey at the 24 pick. I mean, he's slated right around there. I think if we don't pick him there, we still have another shot, obviously, at 25. But I mean, no, he's my first pick. I'm not messing around. I definitely want to shop Mitch. I don't trust Sims at the spot. Thibodeau's not creative enough to actually play a smaller guy there for any extended minutes, more than like a minute or two. I think I saw Randall play there for about 5 minutes one time, and Achua out of need for about 5 minutes one time. So I figured we need that big body, and he definitely fits the mold. And I definitely plan on shopping Mitch.
All right, yeah, he's the guy I think a lot of us had a consensus on that if he was there with one of these two picks, we should grab him. But his draft stock has been all over the place.
Yeah.
Some mocks you see him in the late lottery. Mm-hmm. Some mocks you don't even see him in the first round. It's very weird the way people are reading him. But I'm with you. I mean, his size, like 30 years ago, he'd be the top pick.
Oh yeah, probably.
Like he'd be the number one pick of the draft.
And I think he's 22 already.
Yeah, he's 22 years old. Yep. Yeah, he is, and he's gotten better at the things. Like every time someone has said you need to improve this to play in the NBA, he's worked on it. He's gotten better at it. You know, he's got quicker feet. He moves a little bit better laterally now. Better outside shooter than he was when he first, got to Purdue. So he has grown his game. So I'm with you. Like I'm a fan, and I'd be happy if they took him there. All right, Craig, you're up.
Zach.
For the same reasons we were talking about.
Yeah, and I think he was the best player in that national championship game until he decided to start doubling them in the second half. I mean, he was destroying them. I mean, like he's the guy that I would take hands out. Like John said, I wouldn't even play around. I would just take him and get him off the board, and then for the 25th pick, I just go for a point guard, like you said, backup point guard, and call it a day.
Yes. All right, that's good, Zach. All right, John Clark, are you going to make this a 3 in a row for Zach Edey? That's where we're going.
I'm a Zach Edey fan. I mean, I like what you said also too about the point guard position, because obviously I think Brunson, obviously he's the GOAT in New York right now. Incredible player, 6'2", plays like he's 6'5". I mean, the guy's incredible. So as far as, I think I might go Devin Carter. I was actually just doing some research here on Carter. I like, he came out of Providence. He has good size on him. He averaged about 20 points per game. 6'2", almost reminds me of a Brunson. So it's not even like, as far as looks, we don't have to look. It's not much difference. He might be, honestly, I'm not sure the exact size of Brunson as far as weight, but Devin Carter is definitely someone you could bring in. His dad, Anthony Carter, spent 13 years in the league as well. So
yeah,
he's just, I think he is NBA ready. I know there was some talks about his body, but he's just he's a bucket getter. Like, he reminds me of a Brunson. Now, them playing on the floor together, like you said, I don't know how that would look, but because they remind me of each other. But I think Devin Carter might be that look at that, that backup position, grab him and then grab Edey if he's still around. I think that's a win.
Yeah, I was surprised at how well he played, at how well he showed athletically at the combine. He was at the top of all of the athletic skills list. His vertical, his three-quarter sprint. I forget the other one. So I didn't know. I mean, I'm a St. John's fan, so as a Big East guy, I've seen a lot of him, and I know he's fantastic. He's a fantastic player. Ty, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just looking at him. I never heard of him before, so I was just looking at a couple of highlights of him.
Is this the same Anthony Carter who hit that shot over the backboard? I don't want it.
Yes. Yes, his father is the same guy who was on the Heat. Yes, the same Anthony Carter who was on the Miami Heat.
I'm good.
I'm looking at his numbers and Craig don't want to know. Craig's is a complete homer. It's like,
I don't like no Miami.
Little kids and everything. No nepotism. No, he ain't playing that game.
Yeah, I mean, I could be boring and make it a clean another Zach Edey vote, because he would be, if he's there, that's who I would take as well.
You got to go European at some point.
No, I'll put Edey there for now, because if he is there at 24, I agree with these guys. I would snatch him up in a minute. I'm a sucker for old school center, and he is one. So all the things these guys said, he could play, and he's excellent in the low post. He has really good footwork. And like I said, he's expanded his game out a little bit to be able to play in the NBA nowadays. So the most interesting thing with him, though, for me, is seeing where he falls, because, like I said, his stock has been all over the place. So it's gonna be interesting to see where he falls. So, all right. So I just posted our 24th pick into the comments area. So who we're taking the 24th is there. All right. Let's just move to 25, because we have back to back. The last time the Knicks had two picks, not back to back, but two pick surrounded. They had two picks surrounded by Cleveland's pick. Of course, Cleveland took the best player in Ilgauskas, and we took two bums. So, let's see what happens. He might be, Joe. Like I said, his stock is all over the place. Joe was commenting, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes. All right, so 25. I will start. John Clark, you go first. Who do you think they should pick then at 25?
So I like, I'm gonna go back to what Ty said earlier. He talked about that wing, and OG obviously getting hurt. If OG's healthy, like I said, it's funny with the Knicks, because the Knicks are a unique team to me, and they don't need much. Mm-hmm. And then injuries were the reason to me why the Knicks fell the way they the way they fell. Like, if the healthy Knicks, I think we'll be talking about the finals tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. A lot of people feel that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is just outside eye looking in. I like the kid Dalton from Tennessee. You know, I think he could come in and really give the Knicks that young learn from OG. You know, Tibbs learn from the organization. I think Dalton comes in, you know, and I think he can give the Knicks that backup. You know, obviously I want to see him get a little bit bulkier around the neck area, you know, but I think he has good height. I think he's like 6'6", and he has a heck of a jump shot, and once again he has a killer mentality. I think it's important that whoever they draft has to have that killer mentality, because to me everybody else has it. I mean, even Hart, he has a killer mentality. You know, he may not be okay, you know, the number one guy on time, but Hart goes hard. You know, Brunson, you know, these guys play hard, you know, so whoever they pick, you know, I would say Dalton, you got to come in with a killer mentality. And on Tennessee, he was the guy that was that killer, you know, so I like him for the 24th pick, I believe it is.
25th.
25th. Yep.
Doesn't really matter. Whoever's there at 24 is going to be there at 25.
Right. Correct. So, all right, John, you're up.
I'm going to go on you and get the backup for Brunson. I like the Tyler Kolek kid out of Marquette. He's 6'2". He's got 38. What?
That was going to be my pick.
All right. He's got
That's fine.
38% shooter from three. He's got a good 2% shooting. His assist rate is high. His assist turnover ratio is excellent. He is, again, a little bit older. I think he's 23 at this point. Yeah. So, I mean, he's more ready to contribute. I'm not thinking 3-4 years down the road. I'm thinking about maximizing, you know, Brunson's window and getting guys that are ready to contribute now, just in case somebody gets hurt. So I like these older guys on this end, especially out of this draft.
Yeah, that's a very good choice. I'm with you there. All right, Craig. Same.
The same. I just like the way he attacks, gets into the paint. Looks like he kind of resembles TJ McConnell, more on the all penetrating aspect of it. I wouldn't say defensively. I haven't seen that much of him on a defensive end, but just, you know, just able to watch some of his highlights. He seems to attack. He seems to contact. Seems to want to get to the line, get to the basket. And obviously you need people like that who are not afraid to go in there and challenge, even though he may be a little undersized. TJ McConnell the Pacers are probably never going to let him go. So, and we probably won't be able to get him. So you might as well try to draft his clone, especially if he mimics his game in the sense that he just can get to the basket and attack and always have defenders just gravitating towards him and then kick out for open shooters.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it here. I'll do myself next because I'm on the Tyler Kolek train as well. This guy, I've seen a lot of him as well because another Big East guy, so I've seen him play a lot. And for all the reasons you guys state, the main thing for me is he's a point guard. He's a true point guard. He averaged almost 8 assists a game. You can play him and Brunson together if you need to, in my opinion. Older player, like you said, 23 years old. We know that the coach doesn't, you know, he'll be quicker to play a 23-year-old than he will a 19, 20-year-old. So you know, we definitely have a guy there. And the guy was clutch. Like I watched so many of his games. He is a clutch player, does not fear the moment. I don't think that's going to change at all when he comes into the NBA. If the Knicks walked away with Zach Edey and Tyler Kolek, I'd be a happy guy from the first round. So, yes, add me to the Tyler Kolek fan club. All right, Ty, you're up.
I'm a little conflicted with my next pick, and I'm going to tell you why. Because I got caught up with two ways of thinking. I was thinking for Ty, and then I'm thinking for Tom Thibodeau. This is really what it came down to. Because I'm like, am I the GM? Is he my coach? Probably not if I was the GM. But let's just put it with. I'm like, well, I'm kind of stuck between both places. But the guy I'm picking, you know, initially I took at 24 as somebody with potential, you know, to be a raw talent to develop. The next guy I'm going to take is actually somebody who is developed, and he has a great showing. You guys know I've been a little fan of him if you've been in the thread, and that's Darren Holmes. I just think he's a complete plug-and-play person for Tom Thibodeau. He can hit the three. He plays defense. He runs the floor like a gazelle. You know, we're talking about small forwards once again, having those wings that you can actually throw at people. He's not a legit center. I think he's like 6'9", I think it is.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, 6'9", you know, able to switch out on people. These are the kind of Tom Thibodeau type players. My little asterisk was I was thinking about Dunn at this position also because he is the atypical, and Eric knows what I'm talking about. He shoots 20% from three. That's a Tom Thibodeau type player because he's not going to do a damn thing other than play defense, run the floor, rim run. He's going to block every shot. Have you guys watched the highlights of him outside of the three-point shooting? He is the mold of what this Knicks team is. And trust me, the Holmes thing was more of a feel for me because the done thing with the 20% three, I'm like, but he's a local kid too. He's from Freeport. I just learned that about him. Man, I'm splitting hairs with these two guys because they both kind of, Holmes being the more offensively polished, he can hit the three, which is something that I do like because you can stretch and bring out some more spacing for Brunson if you have somebody who can play that kind of position and actually hit the open jumper. He's very well polished. He's got a great game. It's not like it's a terrible game. I think he's a 3-year player. You know, he fits the mold of what we do need. So I'm going to stick with him with the caveat that Dunn, I would actually kind of split hairs with the two because I know he would be more of a Tom Thibodeau. He's very athletic too. Eric was speaking about athleticism before, and Dunn fits that completely. He's like Derek Lively. If you watch him in Dallas, that live body, not the same kind of game, but those dudes that just run the floor all night and they're going to finish. They're going to finish on the break. So those are the split hairs for me, but I'm going to take Holmes with the caveat that I would have took Dunn too if he's not too. I'm thinking we could pick him with the third pick in the second round because he's not in the first round, so to say.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Why I would pick him maybe there early to make sure I snatch him up, but Holmes is who I'm going to stick with.
All right. So the one thing I just wanted to, the funny thing is about Holmes is where did he play college ball? Do you know where he played college?
No, Obi. He's in Obi land.
Yeah, that's just a little thing I wanted to bring up.
He's getting traded.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. So there's some other guys in that range that I want to highlight a little bit. That guys who I've seen play, who I've seen a little bit of footage of, guys who I've actually seen play, and guys I've actually did a little bit of work on. One of them I brought up in the group once before. It's Khalil Ware from Indiana. He's another 7-foot center, more of a modern day center in a lot of the way that he plays, but very good athlete. A guy who can run up and down the floor. So he's another guy that I wanted to mention in that grouping. Yves Messi is another one from Baylor, another athletic type. Raw player. He's raw. He has a little bit of work to do, on his game. He would be a pick, kind of like not like Jericho Sims. I think he's a little bit more talented, but in that mold where you have to develop him a little bit, teach him how to play the game at the NBA level. But he's another guy from an athletic standpoint I think we could add, and that would help the team as well. Kaishan Carter? Kaishan George? I think it's Kaishan.
George. That's Miami, right?
Yeah. He's the other guy. He's extremely what's it called? He's extremely raw. But another guy he's 6'8", got a good all around skill set. He's another guy that I was focusing on a little bit. So there's other players in this range that I think would be good fits for the team. But let's go to the second round because we have a second round pick. It's at number 38. So, John, I'll start with you.
I mean, I'm only going to say this because Ty's been hyping him up for a few days. I'm going to go with the kid Dunn if he's still there. Yeah, it does seem like he is that kind of all-around Tom Thibodeau. Hopefully he won't play him 48 minutes a night, you know what I mean? But he might because he just seems like a scrapper, you know what I mean? He's going to get in there. He's going to get burns on his, every day on his elbows, diving out of bounds, doing anything, Thibodeau wants him to do. I mean, the guy seems like he'll mop the floor if you ask him to. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be there overtime, and I think Thibodeau would really appreciate that kind of player.
Yeah, he's kind of a Josh Hart clone, right? Like,
yeah, that's what I feel.
very much.
Just taller.
Yeah, just a little taller, but yeah, he's kind of like that type of player. Yeah, and when did we take McBride? We took McBride in the second round, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a history of the Knicks taking players like this in the second round.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't argue with it. He's a very, very good player. I've seen him play a lot. And you're right. Ty is right, 100%. The coach's pick. Coach's pick for sure. All right, Craig. I didn't do homework. What are we feeling? Did you catch up a little bit?
So I sent you that video. Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. The link I sent you guys earlier in the group chat. This Jalevic.
Yes.
Oh,
I
Glow.
rubbed off.
Andrija Jalevic.
Yes.
As soon as I saw him, the first person that came to mind, it wasn't a comp, it was Eric. This looks like an Eric Holzman type player. I'm at work and I needed a mental break, and I check Twitter and I see it. I'm like, that's an Eric type player. If he's available, whatever the case may be, first round, second round, if one of the guys we want is not there, just take a flyer on him, get him. He's a shooter. He's got a little flash. He's a passer. He's just the ultimate Eric Holzman player. And like I said, the minute I saw him, I was like, that's a guy that Nick should take a look at.
I've done my job well then. Someone else has finally seen the value of European players, especially in the second round, though, right? Like, that's a perfect time to take a kid like this. He's not projected in the first round. I don't have to go down the list of Europeans that were taken in the second round who went on to become great players. Nikola Jokic. Just certain players European guys who were taken.
Right? He's 6'11".
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So, and the Knicks worked him out.
Yes.
So
that's an added plus. Right?
He's somebody they're looking at. And it's from the same program that produced Nikola Jokic. So that's the other thing there as well. Yeah, it doesn't mean he's gonna be him.
No.
But
Your cousin's brother. They never know.
yeah, like Thanasis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, thin ass cheeks. It's not Thanasis.
All right, John Clark, what do you say? Who should they go with their third pick in this draft, the second round?
I mean, who I really want to say, I won't say. I don't want to. I don't want to
do it. Don't you do it?
Don't.
Listen. I just said it.
No. Say it. Go ahead.
Give it to us because we know it's coming.
Well,
don't say Bronny James. Oh,
he's going to say.
It's coming.
Oh my God.
Stop. He rhymes with Connie.
Listen. His brother Ronnie. If we have time, and if the New York Nation would just allow me to perhaps try to convince you, not with saying yes, but convince you with like, okay, it may make sense. I asked for those last minutes at the end, but let's stay on track. I like what you were saying about the kid Khalil Ware. I just think, it's a toss up between Khalil Ware and Trey Mitchell from Kentucky. Similar players. One obviously, one's a sophomore, one's a senior. You get a little bit more maturity in Trey. But I would say, the Knicks got to really stay within that power forward, that center, perhaps a stretch forward or a stretch center. So that's why I was thinking Khalil Ware. If I have to choose, I'm going to go Trey just because of the seniority and the maturity of Mitchell. He's been in certain situations. He's Khalil is a little bit younger, but I would go Trey Mitchell. If they had the option.
Okay, that would be a good pickup for them as well. I'm with you. All right, let me make sure I get that in there. All right, Ty, you're up.
This is where I got a little conflicted with the second round. Because it's like there's a couple of avenues to think about. The Rokas thing is what made me wonder. Like when we talk about playmakers, we have a guy sitting over in Europe who might come over now. I think it's depending on how far they go into their championship season. He wants to come on and play Summer League. To me, that is the answer for the backup for Brunson. So that's why I'm not all keen on looking for a colic. No offense to his game. His game is what we need, a pass first kind of point guard who can set up the table. It's not about that, but I think we already have one in the bag that they just need to bring over. And that will negate the need to use a pick to get a backup point guard. Bring over the pick you already made 2 years ago, and this would make plenty of sense. Now, this is me saying it. That don't mean that the Knicks are going to do it because they don't always use the same kind of logic as his fans do. But that would be the person that I think would negate the need for another point guard. So in thinking along those lines, I'm always thinking about guys who are good glue guys that are passers also. The one kid I had thought about, which you kind of remind me of Iggy Branzukis, whatever his name was, which was Baylor Sherman from out of Creighton. He can fill it up. He's a southpaw. A nice game. But there's a guy that I started following and looking into, and that was Jalen Tyson from California. You ever watch his game? He has a very unique game. He's one of the few guys I see at that size. He can post up guys. He has a post up game. He has the ability. He reminds me a little bit of a Boris Diaw with a little bit of Mike Beasley in him. I know that sounds weird, but when you see the flair to his game, you'd be like, he looks like Mini Mike. That's what he looks like. Mike Beasley, who can pass. I like that kid. He's 6'6". He's noted to be a shooting guard. He has a 6'8" wingspan. He's a little bit dicey on the decision making. I mean, his defense needs to be brought up, but he has the great potential to be a two-way player. That would be someone I would take in the second round. It's a lot of redundancy with the Knicks because you have Deuce McBride, all these second-round talents. You got a lot of two-way players. You do need that unique person that can actually offer some passing ability. Brunson's not the greatest passer. Let's just get that right out of the gate right now. The Knicks do need someone who can actually be that hockey assist on the floor, and I like that guy, Jalen Tyson. I think that'd be a nice pick in the second round if I had to pick.
He's from California, right? California.
Yep. California kid. Mm-hmm. You watch his game. He's got a sweet game, and he's developed over time. I think he went to a couple of different colleges before he got his found his home in Cali. He's got a nice game.
Yeah, I know he's got a really good handle. I've seen some highlights of him playing. I didn't see much of him in college, but in the NBA Combine, I saw some of the clips from the workouts in the Combine that he did. So yeah, I would not be afraid or upset if they took him. Again, he's in the second round. You take flyers on guys you think might develop into more. Yeah. We've seen it in the past with Mitchell Robinson, even though he probably would have been a first round pick. We've already talked about Deuce McBride. Going way back, Trevor Ariza. We've seen guys like that develop. So yeah, that would not be a terrible pick to take. You brought him up, Ty, but that's who I'm going to pick. Baylor Shireman. I've seen a ton of him. And let me just tell you, kind of like Kolek, he has no fear. This guy is a scorer. He can score from all over the court. Three level scorer. I just really, really like watching him play. Again, these are guys I tend to go towards guys I've seen more. And because again, Big East guy, he's somebody that I've seen play a little bit more. And I'm just a big fan. He struggles a little bit with certain things. So doesn't have the quickest feet, but I mean, he's a pretty good athlete. If you looked at him, you wouldn't think so. But then when you watch him play, you're like, he's a pretty good athlete. So I'm staying in line with my athletic players that guys like that we need to add. I'm a fan, so I would go with Baylor Shireman with my second round pick. Other guys, plenty of guys that you mentioned, but there's plenty of other guys in that range who are also guys we should keep an eye on. Adam Bona from UCLA. If you're talking about backup centers, he's a guy that you definitely want to keep an eye on. Raw, again, another Raw player, but he's a guy who could develop into something specifically if we do wind up moving on from Mitch Robinson. Cam Christie is another guy that people have brought up. He's got a nice little game as well. Again, all these guys in the second round are guys in this draft specifically. They're borderline first round picks. So in this kind of a draft, you might get a guy who's a first round talent because he slips for whatever reason. So, but those are the guys that I would keep an eye on as well with that 38th pick. So,
Can I play the spoiler a little bit?
Sure.
You know they're trading both those picks for Dunn. I don't want to tell you. We did all our homework, but we know what's going to happen. They're going to trade one of those picks, and we're going to take Dunn and take a second round.
That would be like Ronaldo. No, I shouldn't say that.
No, don't you go there. That wasn't it. Nothing worse than that. Well, then again, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty terrible. They have been pretty.
Oh, they took him over Rondo.
Yeah.
What's the gentleman's name? And forgive me for not knowing this. I mean, he was a fan favorite. He was just in the March Madness. He was the big gentleman. What was his name?
Frederick Weiss?
I know.
Wait, this just the one who just passed?
It just passed.
Klingon from UConn?
Not from UConn. Not in the final games. The team was in the final four. I'm drawing a blank right now, and I don't understand why. But very soft touch, big man, very soft touch. Was it David's?
And
You're not
Edie
talking about,
was there. Klingon was there.
you're not talking about what's his name? That from I didn't watch a lot of college ball recently. What's the dude from? He's not talking about Timmy.
Filipowski from Duke? No.
Not from Duke. I apologize for interjecting and not having more.
You're not talking about Timmy from whatchamacallit.
But this guy, dark-skinned gentleman, had the dreads.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. He's played on what's the team? I know who you're talking about. I
Wait, the really heavy guy?
But he dropped like 60 pounds.
Yeah. I'm forgetting his name, but I know who you're talking about.
What college was that? I'm trying to think of the college.
That's what I was trying to. But anyway,
we see look at the Elite Eight. That's all it is.
If you could remember, but I think he's gonna be something, man. I could see him in New York as well. Big body down there.
DJ Burns.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes, DJ Burns. That's honestly, I take back my DJ Burns is who the Knicks need to get, man. He's ready. He needs some tutelage.
My question is though, when you lose that much weight and you were playing at that size for so long, how does that impact how you play?
I think
that's a good question.
It's like
right
from Ohio.
Look at Lofton. I don't know if he works if he gets skinny. I don't think that'd work for him.
I mean, let's not. He's not like Svelte now. He's not a big guy, so it's not like he lost a lot of weight, and he's just this thin, dude. But still, it's just something that I always wonder when guys are used to playing at a certain size, and then they don't have that size anymore. In the short term, you're thinking, well, they should be a little bit more athletic, be able to run a little more. So you're thinking it could be beneficial. So maybe that shoulder that he buries into someone now doesn't do what it did before. And he can't create the space that he did. So just little things I wonder when these guys do that. I mean, good for him though. Good for him. He looks fantastic. I hope he gets drafted. I haven't seen him projected anywhere, but I hope he gets.
He definitely wasn't projected, but people were like he just got tired quick. And that's why I think he began to go into the whole dropping the weight and trouble. But like you said, if you drop that weight, it could absolutely impact the way you play.
You want to know what's gonna happen the first day of camp if he dropped him? Leon, is Dick Gregory still alive? He ain't getting in the building, bro. He ain't getting in the building. I was
He did.
Thibodeau. With Thibodeau, this is probably the Pat Riley fat content of the year.
Mhm.
Oh, he wouldn't get a minute other than going for donuts. And this is from a thick man myself. Hey, I got all the love for thick people. I'm big, but let me tell you, dude, ain't getting in the gym.
Tibbs ain't playing around.
He's gonna be French buffet. That's what he's gonna be. He's
Yeah.
gonna be buffet.
Yeah.
That's the only way he's getting in. He's gonna take him to the buffet. He's not getting
You get
in. No. No.
All right, so we did the picks. We did the draft picks. Now let's really quickly, because we all think about this at times. So let's really think about this next part I'm going to put out there for everybody. If they trade these picks, I want you to give me the complete trade scenario, who they're getting, so on and so forth. What you think the two picks can get them, I guess, is the question. These two 25th, the two first round picks. I'm not worried about the second round pick, the two first round pick. All right. So Ty, you go first. Go ahead.
I think if they were to trade this, I worked out one trade scenario that works just a straight trade, and it's because of the coach we have. And I know Eric's going to blow up a complete volcano when I bring up this guy's name, because I know it's not one of his favorites. But I think, being that we've been talking about where Mitch could land, because Mitch is the key point right now. We know that something has to be done with Mitch. Whether they're going to admit it or not. Hartenstein has always, in my opinion, been the better fit. I love Mitch, but I've been saying it since Hartenstein came here. Eric can vouch. I said he's going to replace Mitch to close out games. It went from that to he has completely replaced Mitch, in my opinion. I get why we love Mitch, and I get the enamored. We kept the player that we never re-signed players. We know this, and he's a good kid. He's one of the best interviews in New York as far as I'm concerned as an athlete. But everything, including, the Timex is ticking and the clock is up. You can't rely on him, and we need him in key moments because of how impactful he is to the team concept. So my thought is, if we are going to trade these two picks, which would be the most reasonable thing that you can think, there's teams that need a center. There's a team like Memphis that needs a center. You could easily pack those two picks up with Mitch and bring back Eric's favorite player, which I think would be a Tom Thibodeau dream. And that's Marcus Smart. I think that will be the deal. That if you were to look, you would have a former defensive player of the year. I don't think he's offensively no genius no time soon, don't get me wrong. But we're talking about Mitch, who's injury prone. They do need a center because they've lost theirs. You're bringing in a guy that you hope can give you minutes, but they're going to want some reassurance by getting those two picks. So I think that would be the kind of Tom Thibodeau type move, that you could package Mitch, bring in a defensive player that is going to make a difference. I don't think he can score. I think I score better than him, but don't get me wrong. But he does bring that kind of attitude that the Knicks, he embellishes that gritty, grimy, nasty kind of in-your-face. Tom Thibodeau wants those kind of dudes. Could you imagine him and Josh Hart being the two guys you got to deal with all night? I wouldn't want to imagine it. And I'm not even the biggest fan of him. But however, it makes a lot of sense when you think about those two guys. If you were going to trade them for somebody that would fit the guy who's coaching the team. And I think if they were to make a move, not that I'm advocating for it, but I'm saying if you were to package and a player they can get, because they don't need Smart in Memphis. Once Ja comes back, they don't need Smart. That makes no sense. That's a bad tandem. One can't shoot, and the other one is a terrific offensive player. You need somebody who can actually shoot from that position, or get somebody who's of need. That, to me, would be maybe the avenue I'd go to give this coach what he wants, because although we've disagreed with Thibodeau, whatever he did worked this year. It has worked. Whether it's ugly or not, it's worked. So I think he would just, I don't know what he would do. I don't want to say it because it's a family show. But
it'll be a lot of love snot everywhere.
Oh, man. It'd be a snotty day. They call him Snotty Tibbs. That would be his elite. Think about him OG Anunoby? Think about that, man.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not think about it because
Yeah.
I am not. I am not a fan.
Load over there. What was
I'm
it?
not.
What's the Ghostbusters? You know the guy. What was it?
The marshmallows.
Zach, he just
It's gonna be a lot of hard socks everywhere.
All right, Craig. Well, you're the trader. You're the trader of the group. You always want to be trading for someone. So if you had packaged the 2 first-round picks, what would you package them for?
I really like Ty's package. Only
Okay. Wow. Okay.
only because what I'm going to say after that is because I'm afraid of trading him to this team in the Eastern Conference. And I don't know if the money works, but you know what team I would trade him to in the Eastern Conference and for what player? Where's number 11? He's got bad acne, and he's got possibly the best footwork in the league. Possibly. I know who I'm talking about.
Roswell Ravine.
No, not he ain't light skinned. He's got bad acne. He plays on the team with him though. DeRozan.
Not
and I would just move Dante to the bench and just have that'd be your super sub as far.
Wait, hold on. These are all trades involving Mitch Robinson too, right? Like
yes. This,
okay.
I don't know if the money works,
right?
But that's what I would do if it worked. I feel like DeRozan really on the back end helps with the winning timeline. That's just me.
Yeah, because he's old. So yes, he's old.
He's geriatric. Yes.
Except for in every 8 years he's old,
but he can still score. And you don't need him to be you don't need him to be DeMar DeRozan that was in San Antonio or Toronto. You just need him to be a guy that can take pressure off of Brunson and Randall because he can get you a shot.
All right, that's not terrible. I can see that. Well, I can see the reasons why as well. So I think that's a pretty good one. All right, John Clark, being the least Knick fan of the 5 of us, if from an outsider's perspective, if you were traded, the Knicks were going to package these 2 first-round picks, who would you do this trade for? And it can't be LeBron James. We're not talking about that part.
First of all, we don't trade for LeBron. We just bring LeBron on. We don't.
Oh, okay.
LeBron kind of pays his own. Listen,
my fault. I'm sorry.
Eric. Nah. But like I said, I like the Knicks. I do. And I can't. Honestly, I would. It's LA, and then it's like the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And that means a lot coming from me. I think if the Knicks were to trade, send their picks away, and if it could happen, and I don't even know what it would take to happen, I think Kevin Durant would be a good fit in New York. Like the thing about it is this: Kevin Durant Kevin Durant is a elite player. It's not like he's not elite. Mm-hmm. He's just been in Phoenix, and Phoenix is stagnated. And as an ex-player myself, sometimes it gets stagnated, man. And I feel like Kevin Durant coming to New York, what better look is that? I mean, what else can we talk about? I mean, honestly, it's Kevin Durant. Alongside Josh Hart, and I like Hartenstein. Keep Hartenstein. Let Mitchell go. Kevin Durant ready to leave Phoenix anyway. It's done in Phoenix. It's done.
All 3 picks, Robinson, Bojan. The Knicks are cool now, right? So,
hold on.
I agree.
Thank you, my brother.
I agree he's weird, but I'm one of his biggest fans. So you are not. I would add Kevin Durant to this team every day of the week. I agree he's weird, and he seems to be getting weirder as he gets older. So I'm a little bit worried about how this could end with him. But I think you have to take the shot for someone like him. It's going to take more than the 2 picks, though. That's the only thing. It would take a lot more than that to break him here.
Unless he just wants. I mean, no.
I think she's married to me, but anyway.
And his piece.
All right, John, if they Knicks are trading,
Assuming they don't hang up immediately, I'm not trading both picks. I'm gonna give him Mitch. I'm gonna re-sign Bogey and trade him out. Dallas is 2024. I'm taking Edie with the 25th pick. New York's 2025, and the Detroit pick, which will probably never come over here because it's protected up to high heaven. For Bridges, for former first team defense, good for 19 points a game, complete Nova York. Yeah, I would definitely go after him. And I think that's enough picks. And if they ask for Deuce McBride, I'll throw you a second instead, or a couple of seconds, because I don't really respect those anyway.
I gotta tell you, man, you are. That's some
You gotta
good.
give to get, man. And it's the Nets. They're gonna ask for the world because it's us.
Yeah, but they're going to ask for more than what you just offered, though.
Yeah,
They're going to ask for
Really?
they're going to ask for all 3 picks. They're going to ask for they're going to ask for a lot more than that.
I gave him 3 picks.
yeah, you'll have they'll if trading with the Nets, you'd have to pay the Knicks tax. Like everyone says, there's a Knicks tax. There'd be a little bit extra included there. But I think it's a bit much for him because he was great 2 years ago, and this year he was kind of So I don't know, but if you get him playing at his best, I would agree with you. Like if he's playing at his top level, I would agree with you. Adding someone like him, especially for this team with this coach, is a no-brainer. So Jen brought up this trade.
Yeah.
And that's where I would be going. Now I'm not trading Mitch. I'm trading Julius in this trade because if you're trading for Markkanen,
It's got to play somewhere.
and you got to give them someone better. Markkanen's a better player than Mitch Robinson. So that's where I would go. A lot of people look at a trade like this and they say, "Oh, you're reducing the physicality of the team." Getting someone like Markkanen instead of Julius.
Not even that's not true. He's a very physical player.
He is. And the other thing is though, no, he's not. Everyone knows I was a fan of Reynolds when we got him. He's done a lot of things while he's been here to both sour and then he started to reform himself.
Mm-hmm.
So if they keep him, I'm not going to be upset. They just need to figure out what they're doing going forward because he's due for an extension. So they need to make that decision. Markkanen, I believe, just signed a contract. So if you were trading for him, you'd have him already under contract. I don't think you'd have to worry about extending him anytime soon.
I think he's a free agent.
Is he?
Who's that?
Lowry. I brought it up to you guys a few months ago. I said somebody who's a free agent who you didn't think would be one, and I think he's a free agent if I'm not mistaken.
Kyle Lowry?
I think he has. Larry Markkanen. Lowry Markkanen.
Do we really want to go down that road again with Danny Ainge?
He's a free agent next year, Ty. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you would have to extend him. Yeah.
He has a lot of control. He's going to end up. So, whether or not from the rumor I heard was that they didn't want Randall because that what Jen brought up. That was that's been talked about, but it's just more so. Randall's a hard sell. I know New York. He's a great player, but he's such a hard sell.
He's a what?
Anywhere. It's going to be rough. Because you got to pick a team, which is probably LA is probably one of the few teams where he could go to where he might be able to fit the timeline and maybe play with LeBron and work. But other than that, man, because you need someone that is going to take the ball out of his hand and take his decision-making away and fit him in. Who's going to do that? Utah don't need him. And then not that contract. He got 2 more years, I think, and Lowry's got 1. So.
We did start to see that happening before he got hurt. Mm-hmm. So,
the sample size was January, right? 14.
Yeah, it was
awesome.
Yeah, it was small. I just think with the way the game's played nowadays, he's kind of more the type player you would want, especially with how this coach, look what he did to Obi, right? He threw him out on the three-point line and tried to make him a shooter. So he likes big men who can shoot from deep. And with a guy like Brunson on the team as well, Brunson likes to operate in the paint.
Great fit.
So yeah, so he would be a great fit for it.
He would be.
So the 2 picks,
He's not
Randall. No, he's not. He's not. He's not a soft player. Every time someone sees a European, they're like, "Oh, he's soft." It doesn't even. You don't have to watch him at all. But I mean, Luka, Jokic, these guys are not soft players. So, that narrative has started to change. I want to say within the last 10 years. But that's what I would do. I would try and get Lauri Markkanen here, a little bit younger. Not much, I think a year or 2, but still it's younger. More along the lines with Brunson's age as well. They're closer in age to each other. If the Knicks can't land the big fish, you got to go for someone like him who's still ascending, still a good player, still getting better in a lot of aspects of the game. That's where I would go with this one with if we were trading.
I think the thing that's hard too is that the one thing I learned was through Bobby Marks that once they re-sign, if they were to pick up the option on Bogdanovic, Bodega, as we call him, Bodega, if they pick up the option on him, being that the new cap is funny, you can't aggregate contracts anymore. So where you would use a 15 and a 5 million to make 20 million, if you re-sign Bodega right now, the Knicks can no longer do any of those moves because they'll be technically past the first apron. It's going to be very difficult. Like those who don't want to move Randall and don't want to move Mitch, if you see that unless you believe the Knicks are great and can win it all with the team they got, then it's fine. But if you think that you need that one extra piece, now your moves become a lot different. It behooves you to get rid of a Mitch, and it behooves you to get rid of maybe Randall if you don't plan on signing him and extending him.
I don't think Brock Aller will allow them to not trade somebody.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree 100%. I think somebody's got to go. That's the bottom line. Somebody has to go.
And it's not because they may want it. It's just out of necessity. It's just.
Yeah. You think like my concern, if I could just real quick, Eric, just my concern for the Knicks right now, honestly, is Randall, man. Just the outside, and I know, all year, I troll a little bit, especially when I see, everybody got a little troll in them.
Absolutely.
But I like Randall. I do. And I've always called him, for those that know about the AAU system, it's not an insult. To me, Randall is a high level that AAU player because he doesn't have any direction. The only time I've seen him have direction is when he was playing with Kobe. I don't know. Like, when he was in LA, it was like he was a different, but then he got the contract. He looked different. He was working on his game. He just become another player. But I feel like the Knicks are going to do something with Randall, man. I feel like you have to. It's no way Randall's mindset is going to change that quick. It's just not going to change that quick. I mean, he's going to mess the chemistry up. It's just, and I just feel like the Knicks are going to do something with Randall. And that's mark my word.
Okay.
Randall,
we have it on video now, so it's marked.
They're going to wrap him up. They're going to, and trust me, I'm not saying Randall can probably go to like a Miami or, like you said, LA and thrive. But the Knicks is a special team. They are a special team when all their pieces are in place. OG, the Bronson, DiVincenzo. I mean, the Knicks could very well. Once again, we would be watching the Knicks tonight if they weren't hurt.
Oh, I don't even want to think about that.
I agree with you. What you're saying.
Don't make me do the Vince McMahon, man. Don't.
I do wonder about his. I know people, and everybody else in here knows how I feel about Randall. I was like, we don't need him, but you really do have to question the next move with how well the team played without him and how well they played with OG. So the health of OG is obviously very key, but the chemistry. I know he adapted well. He played very well. The way we've been wanting him all to play. If you were ever in our conversations, we've been begging for him to play that way. and he did do it this year. But we know the other years where he hasn't been doing it, and that's always – I'm always about the resume. What your resume is what you are. That's the work you've been doing. I have very good much concern about how he will be integrated back in to the starting lineup. There's some dog. Not that Randall's not a dog, but these guys, the way that they played the best basketball I've seen in New York probably since Patino was here, as far as sharing of the ball and the movement.
It was exciting. As an outsider, it was once again, it was okay to say, hey, I'm a bandwagon rider. It was okay. Listen, I'm a bandwagon. I was like, why the Knicks not in the end? Because they were just hurt, man. After when Brunson hurt his foot, OG hurt the hamstring.
Yeah.
Hartenstein is to me, he top right now. My son's like, who says Hartenstein? Everybody says Hartenstein. Hartenstein can come to a little floater. Are you kidding me? That's Hartenstein.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks cannot disturb that chemistry, man. And I don't, like I say, Randall, trust me, he's strong. And if he shapes up, he could fit right in.
But he does fit in. I think they're going to look at January, and I think they're going to jump back, and they're going to be like, look, it's a small sample size, but that was one hell of a month. And that's when everybody was healthy. And I think they're going to run it back as much as possible. And this team loves Julius Randle. Don't get it wrong.
But running it back is
love him.
You got to extend
it. It would be really hard for them to part with him. All of us, we kind of love him. We kind of don't love him. We would, well, Ty would get rid of him for a bag of chips. But
crumbles.
Other people, yeah.
That's our joke.
But they love him. I mean, the front office, I think you're underestimating how much they are invested in this dude. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, I don't. At the end of the day, I don't either. There's a lot of, and Craig, you brought up the point of extending him. They don't have to. He's up for one, but they don't have to do it this year. It's going to be to me. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do, because I kind of agree. You're going to have to make, both of them are up for extensions. Brunson's up for an extension, and so is Randall. And if you're committing to both those guys, that's a lot of money. You're going to be committing to both those guys, and those are your guys. Then there's no other guessing. You're riding with them if that's what you do. So it's going to be very interesting to see the decisions they make. That's why I think we started hearing the Knicks are, they're not shopping him, but they won't, they're listening to offers.
Mm-hmm.
Which you should do on every player. Like, that's not a surprise, but still, when we start hearing things in the media, they're leaked for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows they're leaked for a reason. So, all right. So, Mr. Clark, I told you I would give you time. You asked politely for time to make your pitch for LeBron and Bronny, so I'm going to give you your time. But make us believers. Make us believe. There we go. Go ahead.
So, and once again, this is just my own belief. Everyone has their own religious belief. I never whatever. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. I just think, I know Bronny did not have the best season in college. I know he didn't. But once again, if you play the game and you look at Bronny, you look at his body, you look at this way. Sometimes playing around better will make you better. And I think New York would be a perfect fit for him. I would like to see Bronny in New York learning. I would like to see LeBron come on over to New York with his son. And I think why wouldn't you want LeBron James? As much as
wait, can we answer? No, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, why wouldn't you want a LeBron James on your team? Because if you bring Bronny, Bron's coming.
Okay. So you don't see a clash immediately between Thibodeau and LeBron?
No. See, that part I will. So if everybody can get along right, if and this is contingent on everybody just getting up. Like, this is a perfect world.
Okay.
LeBron comes over, power forward, moving to the power forward position, relinquish some of his rights as far as the need the ball in his hand. But yo, why would you want a LeBron James? I mean, you really tell me if LeBron's on the Knicks this year, we're talking finals. Are we not?
Okay.
I don't disagree. I mean, because talent.
I don't either. No,
It's a talent-driven league, right? And and as soon as Clutch and Richie Paul and Leon had that meeting, right? Of course, everyone's imagination started to run. Well, what does that mean? Is it
not mine.
Is it just Clutch? Is it just Clutch players? Like that's everyone but LeBron? Are you opening the door? Like, I think if you put KD or LeBron on this team right now, as presently constituted, they're in the finals.
I mean, and yeah,
Greg, hold on.
And I cannot stand LeBron.
Everybody, man.
No.
Wait.
You got a good heart. Seriously, let that man talk, please. Go ahead.
No, hold on.
And yes, I don't like LeBron. Yes, I know.
I don't. No. You know why? Because I don't believe. I think this is an act. I don't think he's being truthful right now. But go ahead.
I'm being 100. Okay, take LeBron off the table. If you put KD on this team right now, as presently constituted, they'd be in the finals. Is that
well?
Fair
You know that can't happen. Getting both of them will never happen.
No. I'm just saying one or the other. I'm saying one or the other. That's what I meant. So I'm not doing 2K. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying one or the other. Mm-hmm. If you put one or the other on the team right now, they'd be in the finals. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Like, I don't think that's hyperbole or hot take. It's the truth.
I like what Jen
It's
said
hyperbole, but okay.
Excuse me.
If we're healthy, we're in the finals too. That was a good point she made. She said, if we're healthy, we're in the finals too. So
probably.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you feel like, from both you and Jonathan, do you feel like that is the move that needs? And I agree with the Bronny thing to a degree. Let me just backtrack with the Bronny. I think Bronny would be a Thibodeau type of player. I think he would be, because he's going to probably come in and do all he needs to do, because he's going to play defense. That's all he's going to do. Mm-hmm. He's not going to look for the score. He's going to be a glue kind of player. Do I think he should be in the league? I don't think so. He's probably more of a I don't even think he's a two-way. I think he's a G League player.
G League
develops, and there's nothing wrong with that. That people act like that's shameful.
You have to play him though, no?
What's that?
If you take Bron and Bronny together,
no, you
Bron's
don't.
gonna be looking down that bench. He's gonna make you play.
No,
not gonna play him.
I don't.
Yeah,
you have to play the kid.
It's gonna be a power struggle. It would definitely. It definitely would. But we're just talking about like basketball. I do think Bronny could be the kind of player you can bring up into a system. I mean, if Thin Ass Cheek's got a job, Bronny probably can get a job too. Just to keep it.
Yeah, he's only got a job because of his brother.
New York having that job because of his father, who would come in and want to be GM and be the president. Is my point. Mm-hmm. But I think the Knicks, he would be a young. I don't want to say he's like Deuce McBride, but you see how Deuce developed throughout our system. If you're a defensive first person, and then you can develop your offensive game, you can work with the Knicks.
I see more Frank than Deuce.
Well, it might be, probably is. I mean, I think the kid's overblown. Is my point, but I'm not completely agreeing with Jonathan. Like, I want him here. I'm just saying, no. I do think over time he could develop into maybe being a serviceable player in the G League. I don't think he's an NBA player right now, in my opinion. But no, I don't think we need LeBron, and we might not even need KD. To be honest, I think we need OG to be healthy and another player, another high service player, to maybe back up Brunson, or like how we addressed it in the draft. I think those are the kind of players you bring in, because the Knicks are about a half a player away. Mm-hmm. They're not a star away. They're half.
I'm saying too, it's like in that I totally agree with you. Like, if even though I said what I said before, like you guys are right. You guys are right there. Like, you made it that far without a LeBron, without a KD. You made it there with the energy. You've seen it at Madison Square Garden. OG is OG a free agent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to sign him, and hard to sign.
Yeah.
So which they definitely bring them back. And like you said, I say all that with LeBron and Bronny is if it's no power struggles. It can't be no power. Like you said, I'm not gonna feel forced to play him. USC didn't feel forced. He only started because the starting point guard for USC. Forgive me for not knowing his name, but he got hurt, so they had to bring Bronny in, and obviously 5 points a game. But once again, on camera, I think Bronny is going to shock the NBA, and something special is going to happen.
All right.
That's a hot take. Hot take.
I'm just gonna say this. I watch college basketball a lot. And there is nothing, he does nothing special. There's nothing Bronny James does that's special. And I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I'm not saying he doesn't, he didn't deserve a shot, but to me, he got picked as a McDonald's All-American. He didn't deserve that either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's getting a lot of these accolades because of his father, and that's fine. I understand people want to be in business with LeBron James. I get that. Outside of basketball, LeBron James has built a nice little business career for himself. And I understand people want to be attached to him. He's a clean-cut guy, never gets into trouble. Everything that you want in a star athlete, he is.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand all that, but what they're doing and what media is doing, and this happened, but he started it when he said, I want to play long enough to play with my son.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. So now teams in the NBA are saying, LeBron is still a 25, 8, and whatever player he is, still one of the best players in the game. He's also going to bring people to the arena. I'll draft this kid to get LeBron James for a year or two and boost my value. And
the Knicks don't need that.
Then you're right. The Knicks don't need that. But I'm just saying, I understand like the mentality that people have around this. What I don't like is this kid and LeBron said this, but I laughed because he caused it. He's just trying to, go for his dream. This is a dream of his, and he's just trying to play in the league. He's not good enough, in my opinion. I agree with Ty. I think he has to go to Europe, to be honest. I think that's where he would probably learn the game better and then maybe come back in a few years. But all this pressure and everything that he's facing and everything, the only reason we know him is because LeBron James is his dad. And he doesn't have a game to back that up. And it's not, Michael Jordan's son had the same problem. Patrick Ewing's son had the same problem. Like, all these great players, a lot of times the kids don't match up, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not begrudging him his shot or his chance. Your dad's opening these doors for you. Damn, try and run through them. I don't blame you. Go ahead. I think we all would. But in my opinion, the media spotlight and the reason we're talking about him is a disservice to him because he's never going to be that good.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion. So.
Nosferatu, take right through your heart.
I think it's a Thanasis situation. It definitely is.
No.
He's got a job because the big guys there with him. That's the only reason why he'll have a job. I can't see him. I think once LeBron retires, too, that team will ship that kid to the G League so fast.
Do some express mail on that one. I agree.
Dad's gone. Oh, sorry. We just lost the roster spot.
I have a question for Jonathan, too, being that he brought up LeBron. And say hypothetical, he is a free agent. We're talking about the Knicks. I don't think he has a fit on the Knicks because it's Brunson's team. I think that would just be a disservice to bring him in to play with Brunson because he needs the ball so much. Where do you see him being a good fit? I don't think New York is a good fit. I get the package deal. Yeah, would he assist us in probably getting further, because of the numbers he can put out? We watch him on the Lakers. He has
Golden State.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
It might be a good spot for him.
He should go. I think the time in LA, in my opinion, has been up for a while. I think it's been up for 4 years, to be honest. And this is not no knock. I know he's still productive. It's just the Lakers needed to pick a direction. Sometimes you just know the car is tight. Although it might be a nice looking car, it's time to put it in the garage.
Yeah.
With AD and LeBron both, I think they need to reboot that franchise. But my point is, where would he even go? Because now he's obviously flirting with Kyrie.
Yeah.
flirtation that's been going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's not going. What, he's going to play next to Luka? Nah, that's not going to happen.
That's
Honestly,
Go home.
I think Cleveland and Phoenix are the two teams for me. That's my personal opinion. Might be where he goes, and maybe they draft Bronny to be with him, make it a bookend story in Cleveland, or make it, Cleveland. I mean, Phoenix obviously needing a lot of help because that's just not cutting it in Phoenix. Where would you like to see him land as a fan of this?
I think, all jokes aside, like, I really feel like LA I think it's done in LA.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? Because my son, we in here shouting, Bron. But Bron has to transition his thinking, right? And that's going to be hard because he's always been the man.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's able to transition his thinking as far as on the court and become a player that doesn't have to always be in charge, you know what I'm saying? Play the game. Like, if he was to come to New York, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know where. It's not about where LeBron needs to land. It's more about he needs to change his thinking toward what he's doing on the team now. Like, come on, Reeves. You put Austin Reeves. You put Hachimura on the New York Knicks in the power forward position. I think he does well. LeBron holds back players sometimes. It's hard playing with LeBron. You know, it's not easy. But the only way anybody plays well with LeBron, if LeBron says, you know what, I'm a role player now. I know it sounds crazy. You could be
not so crazy. He's getting older. And you're right.
Be a role player, man. I mean, I'm not saying, okay, you don't even if you come up to bet, like, bro, like, you're getting older now. LeBron can't carry a team anymore. He can't carry a team. He needs to have like a Luka and Kyrie, and he needs people around him. When he was in Cleveland, okay, but he's not that same guy anymore. But he's been doing it for so long. He's been dominating for so long. Hate him or love him, the guy scores buckets. Yeah, but he got to change his mindset, because if not, LeBron, you can't do it by yourself no more. Those days are over. So I don't know where LeBron will go. But if you put LeBron, put him on Boston, put him on Denver, put LeBron James anywhere you want to put him, that team should be next level. But it's up to LeBron.
Well, yeah.
Jonathan,
you had mentioned something at one point. You said if you put Hachimura on the Knicks, you think that he would thrive. If you're a power forward, you play with LeBron James, you sacrifice your game. There isn't one power forward that has been incredible without him that hasn't had to sacrifice their game. Chris Bosh, Love, AD, and Hachimura all seem to take more of a back seat to Bron. Like you're saying, if he changed his complete attitude and he decided he's going to be the best role player ever, I'd love to have that guy. I don't think he can put his ego aside enough to actually say. And you even said, I don't know whether you're talking out of the side of your mouth, but you said come off the bench. He had never coming off the bench. He's going to retire before he ever has to come off the bench.
I was thinking more like I said, okay, I played the game still, okay? I played a lot different when I was 21. I was 15 points, 10 rebounds, played a little college, got a little offer from a D3 school. I go on Saturdays now, bro. I like playing. I'm a role player. I changed my mindset. I'm not out here dominating all by myself anymore. But it's easy for me to do it.
Right, because you're not LeBron James.
Because I know, but I don't know if LeBron can. It's going to be tough for LeBron, man, and record it again. LeBron's going to have a tough time winning champ. I don't know, because he's not going to change his mindset. It's too far invested. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. He's in a very to me, it's a not like killer, like health-wise, but he's in a dangerous place. He's in a place where he has to change how he play the game. How he looks at the game, how he talks to other players. He has to change everything. Like you said, Hachimura, Reeves is nice, but it's like they won't be nice under LeBron. It's over in LA for all that.
I'm going to make Craig real mad at me for saying this. However, LeBron, the thing that he should be doing is who he's initially compared to when he came into the league. It wasn't Jordan. It was Magic Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to be the point guard. The point guard and not the scorer. What got mixed up in his wiring was this chasing this Kareem too much. And it became about, LeBron is not noted as a scorer because Jordan was the scorer. Now he went out and proved he can score, which I don't think nobody doubted he can score.
Mm.
But his greatness has always been his mind about the game and his passing ability, which he's got away from. He's become more of a scoring type player than he has been the gifts that God gave him, which is the ability to go downhill, which we know that's going to change when you get older. But what hasn't changed is his ability to pass and set up people. But he has not been setting up anybody but LeBron and Bronny. These are people setting up now with Bron and Bronny instead of serving up, because take a team that I know Craig's going to be like, oh, please never. But Philly would be the ideal spot for Bron.
No, I can't. I couldn't take
Play
it.
with Joel Embiid as the point guard that Ben
No.
Simmons never was. I know Craig.
No,
You might be right.
But
I wouldn't. I couldn't. I
yeah,
couldn't.
he wouldn't let it.
I wouldn't. Let it.
He'd move out of
No.
Philly. But that kind of situation, if he was being the person thinking about trying to get one more title to kind of move up at least to Kobe's level of the respect of saying I got 4 or 5, Philly playing point guard like Ben Simmons refused to would be the ideal spot for him, because you'll have that low post dominance and that guy who would be able to set up maybe a Maxey and everybody
becomes a shooter.
God,
See,
no. Then we're not. Then we're
play is Magic Johnson. That's what he did for LA all those years. He learned to score later when he had to go in Boston and prove that he wasn't Tragic Johnson. That's when he took it upon himself to find spots where he actually was scoring the ball in need-be situations, like the Game 7 when he was a rook, playing center. He had to be the scorer. Bron needs to move back and take that step back and say, look, it's better if I set up everybody. AD should be getting 30 points, 15 rebounds.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
That guy should be leading the league in points. I mean, that's like legit. He should be an MVP conversation every year playing next to LeBron. But he has yet to brains and play a secondary role. And no one would look at him funny if he says, like Jason, towards the end of my career, now I'm going to be a shooter. I'm not going to be the guy driving downhill and passing.
Every great athlete, every great player goes through this.
Yeah.
When it's time for them to, have to take the back seat for a little bit. You've been driving for a long time, too old, your eyesight's not as good, reflexes aren't as good. I move to the back seat now or become a passenger because, and he's still an elite player. I mean, his numbers speak for themselves, but it's at the point now where it's to the detriment of his team.
Right.
If he has to carry such a big load. And we've seen it. And I mean, John Clark brought up great points about Austin Reeves and the young guys on the Lakers, where just now, they probably could be more, but because he's there, they have like this deference to him. And it's very, very tough for them, but I'm glad he's not on my team. So that's all I have to say right now.
Very, very, very tough for the Lakers right now. They just, that last word I'll say is, LA is just in a place where, LeBron just, he needs to change, man, and like you said, just be the guy that's just kind of, distributing the basketball, score, okay, but don't make the players around you feel like they not as important. You got to have a strong-minded player around you too, because at the end of the day, even, where, I keep saying where I play on Saturdays, there's a lot of strong-minded guys out there that are probably light years better. But when I'm out there, I'm not going to give you the ball because you light years better. And that's the kind of players that LeBron play with. It's almost like they handpick these guys. You can't be too outspoken, but just enough. But you need people that's going to say, LeBron, listen, I got this too. And who's going to say that? So, great points from everybody. Just LA is in a tough spot right now.
I'm glad I'm not a fan of that. Anyway,
Ah,
Yeah, I like being a Knicks fan right now.
yeah, right
yeah,
now.
right now.
No,
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I was almost listen. I follow great. I'm not an LA fan. I was a Chicago fan. Then when Mike left, Kobe slid into that role. Obviously, he's in LA. I'm in LA. LeBron kind of reminded me of Mike in LA. He's not, he's not Mike, but so listen.
You
I'm
like
like
players, and
Brunson,
that's
man.
fine.
yeah,
I'm
that's
falling with Brunson, man. Seriously.
Yeah. You got to
You
fall
like
in love with
players.
Jalen Brunson, then. Ain't nothing
There's
not to
nothing wrong
fall
with
in
that.
love with.
Dude, footwork out this world, he's just next level. I mean, he makes you believe you can get to the league at 6'2". That's another thing.
yeah. He's a dog.
Yeah, I always say guys like him, like Luka, like Jokic, you don't think they should be good, but they're great.
Brunson is great. 40, like I
Yeah.
don't know, but 40 points all the time, and just he's nice, man. He's nice. He's
Well,
nice.
we'll accept you on the bandwagon anytime.
Thank you, brother.
You're welcome to join us on the bandwagon. And I want to thank all of you guys for coming on tonight.
Yo,
But I want to thank all of you guys for coming on tonight. This was a lot of fun. We had a great time doing this. As always, Craig and John, it's always awesome to have you guys back on. And Mr.
Thank
Clark,
you.
you are always available. You're always welcome to come on the show if you'd want to.
Thank you,
We have, you're a good sport. We review a little about LeBron, but you're a good sport about it. So thank you for being a good sport, because we like to have fun on this show. So if you could be the butt of a joke, it's all right.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you for that. All right. Anything you guys want to, plug or talk about before we go?
Well, let Jonathan plug because he always got
Yeah,
something.
go ahead, man.
The guest, go on. Tell him about your platform and everything.
Yeah, so Put Two on Me, is the platform. We're a multi-sport platform. We promote everything sports related. I always say there's no competition. Similar to LeBron James, no competition, but because we don't compete. I don't care if it's the all nicked up boys talking about the Knicks. I don't care if it's not. I'm sporting a Nike hat here. Got the Put Two on Me merch here. Anything sports related, I got you. We manufacture sportswear as well. We make uniforms for a lot of the local teams here in Western New York, downstate as well. And, it's all sports, and we do obviously the podcast. This podcast, I like this podcast. This is a real official podcast right here. So I do a little podcast, little videos, but other than that, man, it's just put2onme.com is the website. Put Two on Me is on all social media, TikTok, all the, and just put two on me, man. Two is one and one is none,
And how could they get at you? Where can they hit you up? Do you have socials?
Yep, all the socials is Put Two on Me, PUT, the number 2 on me. So it's Put Two on Me. You can Google that. It'll take you right to the Twitter, probably. Twitter, follow, message, any questions, anything. I'm always up for a good conversation. It's just Put Two on Me across all social media platforms.
All right, thank you, man. Thanks for coming on again as well. Ty, anything you want to let people know about?
I just wanted to thank everybody once again. Also, this was something that I did a little Voltron action behind the scenes to get everybody together. The original crew is always the crew. We always love you guys being on. It's always been special. That's how we started this thing organically. It's always been a beautiful thing to have the kinship and the brotherhood. Jonathan being someone I've been really like a brotherhood. Me and his brother go way back. Jonathan family. That's the insight, and we always stay in contact. And I troll him a lot too. So, but it's all out of love, and it was great just getting the whole crew back together. And hopefully, we can do something similar. I'm thinking about a draft show moving forward, a live draft show that if we can get people on. If you want to be able to talk the Knicks during that time, Jonathan, you're more than welcome to come on as well. I'll probably be hosting that one because I think Eve will be away.
Yes, I will.
We'll see if we're right on our picks, basically. But try to stay in contact with us on our fan page. We try to give up-to-date information on our Facebook page. And I do need to start working on the IG page a little bit more and kind of bringing that up to speed with everything we're doing. But just thank the fans that are actually tuning in and watch this podcast. And just stay in tune. We're going to have some more shows. It might not be as frequent, but we're going to try to bring some good material leading back up into the start of next season. So stay tuned.
Yes, Ty, I couldn't have said it any better myself. If you guys want to get at me out for the show on Twitter, it's at all_Knicked_up. That is my handle for the on Twitter. I monitor that account. So if you guys have any, want to ask any questions, want to send any comments, the show also is broadcast there now. Twitter has the new broadcast feature where you can take comments and everything. So broadcast there as well. So you can always watch the show on our Twitter account. All right. So for Ty, the two Johns, Craig, I'm Eric. You're watching All Nicked Up. We'll see you next time.